I would like to express my sympathy and warmest regards to the people of Hawaii, and specifically all of those who have been so gravely and irreparably hurt by the tragedy of the wildfires in Maui, something the likes of which have seldom been seen anywhere at any time. And very importantly, the aftermath is going very poorly, with the governor of the island wanting to do nothing but blame it on global warming and other things that just happened to pop into his head. When asked about it today, as he was getting into a car, perhaps coming home from the beach, where he has been spending a great deal of time, Crooked Joe Biden, the most incompetent president in the history of our country, with a laugh and a smile, said he had no comment on the death and the tragedy. To say no comment is oftentimes fine, but to be smiling when you say it, especially against such a tragedy as this, is absolutely horrible and unacceptable.
Hey there, guys. Welcome to the channel. So heartbreaking news to share, man. The Maui wildfires in Hawaii have got even more devastating news. So Lahaina, which was an absolutely beautiful place, has been basically wiped off the map. And as of now, almost 100 people are dead. They're gone or lost, and they think that number is going to keep climbing. And the images coming out, man, are terrible. You can't even put them into words. Entire towns, entire communities, entire memories just reduced to ashes, and some people obviously couldn't escape in time, and the loss, there are no words for it. My heart goes out to everyone affected. This is a tragic reminder that nature is powerful, and we always have to be prepared and vigilant, man. If you guys can consider donating or supporting the reliefs, I'm sure every little bit helps at a time like this. And honestly, I'm a former wildland firefighter, and I've been to Lahaina. I cannot freaking imagine a fire that powerful moving through a place like that with the fuels that are so wet. It's insane.
A week ago, none of this had happened, and now here we are. It's nighttime here still in Hawaii. So many people we spoke to, though, told us they are not sleeping because when they close their eyes, what they see is the horrors of this past week. And others use the night, believe it or not, to look for hot spots, still burning embers that could start all of this again. Let me give you a sense of where we are physically. We are south of the devastated town of Lahaina. It's a community of about 13,000 people, now most of it reduced to just hundreds of piles of twisted metal and ash. Look at these pictures. Kihei, where we are now, is home base for the relief efforts, which are ongoing, including the National Guard. You see the equipment behind me, and also FEMA. They're providing, among other things, and this is hard to talk about, cadaver dogs to help with what is a very delicate search for bodies, loved ones that have been described to us as, at this point, mostly ash, which is why of the 96 victims so far, only 2 have been positively identified, and families are being asked to drop off DNA samples. Also, the dogs, at this point, they've only covered about 3% of the total search area, so the death toll you're hearing now is very likely to rise. Among survivors, however, there is another search going on. It's a search for answers. And Jonathan Vigliotti is with me now with more on that question. How could this happen, Jonathan?
It's a good question, and one that is difficult to get the answer to. It is day 6. People are still searching for loved ones, and they are demanding answers. We know they were not placed under that mandatory evacuation. County officials are now under investigation for their response. As that happens, families are being allowed to return back to what is left of their homes, describing scenes of chaos and utter confusion. And all the while, journalists are not being allowed through those same roadblocks to tell their stories.
All right, so here's the situation, man. This Maui wildfire, it's a tragedy. It's awful. We got a ton of questions and not enough answers. But that's always the case in a tragedy, in the early days after a tragedy especially. But as usual, folks aren't waiting around for the facts, man. You got all the usual internet experts, mostly from the left, and they're shouting it's 100% climate change, and they're pointing the fingers at the Republicans. It's these anti-climate change Republicans killed Maui. And come on, man. Look, we got to have a serious conversation about our environment, but maybe let's not jump to stupid conclusions without any facts. And here's where it gets even crazier. So Oprah, of all people, man, is catching heat for this. So she has a lot of property on Maui, and word is she brought a TV crew, tried to bring a TV crew into a shelter, housing survivors. And that rubbed people the wrong way. Apparently she's got a lot of land, like I said there. And, they're worried that once all the dust settles, the rich are going to swoop in and buy up all the damaged properties at some kind of bargain. and rebuild some left-wing utopia or whatever. Anyway, so obviously Oprah is probably trying to help. It's in her nature. She helps in her camera-ready kind of way, I'm sure. Let's not judge how everybody helps. But now she's facing some pretty good backlash. But hey, she's there. At least she is there, and she is showing up, which is more than we can say for our president, Joe Biden. So while Maui is literally going up in flames, our president's off catching rays at Rehoboth Beach, as usual. I mean, come on, man. The guy's work ethic has not been stellar. And I know he's old. I know he needs rest, but come on. You cannot be at the beach when Maui or any of your citizens are literally burned to a crisp. And the guy didn't even say a word. He gives no comment. They asked him to comment about Maui on his way to his beach. He literally said the words no comment, as if he was answering some sort of business dealing with his son question. Someone has got this guy so damn scared to talk if he's not been fully prepped and he's not tied to a damn teleprompter that it's freaking scary. Who in the hell has no comment about a part of their nation being burned to a freaking crisp, man? You can check it out for yourself, guys. But before we do, thanks to everyone that's been subscribing, everyone that's been leaving such great comments. We appreciate all the support. Guys, if you haven't already, please help us with the algorithm. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. Every time you do, a leftist loses their wings. You got to see this.
President Biden at his Delaware beach home, per usual. Actually, he hit the beach here. Barely had anything to say on it.
Mr. President, any comments on the rising death toll in Maui?
Will you come talk about the Hawaii response, Mr. President?
No comment. He was vice president under a president who was born in Hawaii, Obama. He's got nothing to say? That's not even a friend. An estimated 1,000 people are still missing. More than 2,000 structures damaged or destroyed. It could cost $5.5 billion to rebuild there. Returning to find nothing but charred rubble, the future seems so unclear for the business owners and the families, everybody involved who lost everything.
So yeah, man, it's looking really bad for Biden on this one. And I mean, how hard is it to acknowledge that there's a tragedy in Maui? Just a simple, our thoughts and prayers are with the families who are affected. Would have made a difference to someone. Would have made a difference to whoever it made a difference to. But the guy gives you nothing. I mean, it's baffling. It feels a lot like Bush's response, or his lack of response, to Hurricane Katrina. And guys, it's just PR 101. Acknowledge that there's a situation, show some freaking empathy, and do what you can to help. But Biden, he missed that memo. And now, he's thankfully finally feeling some heat from something, but check out the backlash.
Hey, all of you that voted for Joe Biden, where are you? This man is the most disgraceful president we have ever had. He's got no problem asking for $40 billion for Ukraine. But when asked about Maui, Hawaii, and the wildfires and how the debt toll is rising, he said, "We're looking at it." This man is on a bike in Delaware instead of hopping onto a plane, speaking to the people in Maui, Hawaii, listening to their concerns, seeing what he can do to help. No, he's not doing that. He's riding a bike. Here's the video.
Mr. President, are you going to take questions on Maui?
Can you come talk about Maui? Can you come talk about Maui, Mr. President?
We're looking at it. But if they asked you about Ukraine, Joe, you would have stopped that bike and answered all the questions on Ukraine. You are a complete joke, and I can't wait until you are not in office in 2024 anymore and we have a real president like Donald Trump. Let's pray for the people of Hawaii, because clearly our president is not doing anything about it. And you can say, oh, he's giving them the resources, he's doing this, he's doing that. Hawaii is a U.S. state. He should be there speaking to the people. Instead, we're given billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of taxpayer dollars to Ukraine. In fact, since the war began, we've given more than $75 billion to Ukraine. And he just asked for another 40. I can understand why the people that live in Hawaii are mad. I'm not even from Hawaii. I don't live in Hawaii. I've never even been to Hawaii, and I'm mad. What an awful situation.
Wow, man. So Biden really seems to be dropping the ball here. It feels a lot like East Palestine, Ohio. And if you guys don't remember that, massive train derailment and basically turned into a poisoning of an entire town. And when Biden should have stepped in, he was silent, probably off at the very same beach. And now with Maui, it's obviously a tragedy, and he's out enjoying himself on the beach. The optics alone are just terrible, especially considering he's had time to visit Ukraine, which has got plenty of issues, but can't make it to Hawaii, a beautiful place, and can't make it to Ohio, a pretty close place to where he lives. And it sends a message about priorities. It's all it really does. It's interesting to see who actually shows up in times of crisis. Trump, he visited East Palestine, and that, gave a leadership edge. People appreciated that. Politicians visiting, like I said, the war zone in Ukraine, and they haven't gone to Hawaii. It highlights basically where their allegiances are, what's important to them. And the reaction from the public, especially key figures from the Trump administration, they speak volumes. And the sentiment's pretty clear. Biden is missing a massive opportunity to at least pretend to show some leadership, at least pretend to show some empathy when Americans actually need it. These people in Hawaii, they need it. But, like every issue that really shouldn't be political nowadays, for everything you and I are upset about, some people are still trying to defend Biden. People are pointing out that federal assistance is being provided to Hawaii. But guys, is that enough? Let me know in the comments, is that enough? Is leadership in today's day and age, is American leadership really just about shipping some money off? Isn't it about being present, showing empathy, understanding the concerns of the public, at least pretending to listen? Make a damn comment, at least that. The Democrats, they need a strategy shift when it comes to dealing with disasters, especially since they cause so damn many of them. But currently, it's just not cutting it for Americans, man. And here's something even crazier. You got Democrats going on TV and smirking and smiling, probably because it's the first time anyone ever thought to interview them, but smirking and smiling in an interview about Maui. You guys have got to see this.
Brian Schatz is the Democratic senator from Hawaii who shared these images from a devastated Maui during his tour of the area yesterday, and he is here to tell us about it now. Senator, it's great to have you under awful circumstances, and like I said to Senator Hirono last night, everybody I've talked to and seen is thinking about folks in Hawaii and pulling for you and sending love and concern. What did you see yesterday when you were able to tour the parts that were so devastated?
Thanks, Chris, for doing this, and thank you for your kind words. And I just want to thank everybody across the country and across the world for the solidarity and the support and the money that is pouring in, because this is a disaster ongoing. We are still in disaster response. We are not in the rebuilding phase. But what I saw was it was as though a bombing run had happened on Lahaina. It's flattened. It is razed to the ground. The sugar mill is intact. The lighthouse is intact. The banyan tree is still standing, but it's unclear whether it or not it will survive. But basically everything else is gone. We've got thousands of people now in temporary shelters. We're trying to restore power and telecommunications, but this is every bit as bad as the pictures. We walked down Front Street, and it is a smoldering, toxic mess where it used to be this vibrant town of Native Hawaiians and Filipinos and Portuguese and Caucasians and tourists from all over the planet, and people surfing and fishing and watching the whales and having a beer and dancing hula. And it is now what you see on the screen. So it's a devastating time for the people of Hawaii, and we appreciate the solidarity as we navigate through the next several weeks and months and years.
Man, so those pictures, first off, they're hard to watch, man. It had to be terrifying. I've been close to raging fires. I can't imagine what it must be like for people that have never seen anything like that, have no idea what's going on, and you're so scared that you don't even know which way to move. Anyway, I was looking at this guy's face in this interview, and honestly, I don't see much concern there. And it could be I'm reading too much into it. This may be just the way this guy looks and that little smirk, but I hope that's just the way the guy looks. It's a strange look. But on top of that, you got no comment from Biden. What's really going on here? Because it does not give off the best vibe. It's like, from a PR perspective, at least, this is not a great look for our government. This is not a good look for Democrats, especially considering, they do not manage these crisis situations well. And it's not like these are rare occurrences. There's all these natural disasters, but they're causing enough of these disasters that they should be pretty damn good at it by now. But, it's not that hard for Biden to just say something. My thoughts are with the affected, and we're doing everything we can to help. Anything like that, but there's silence. And it feels like he's just too busy enjoying his beach vacation to even talk to the nation. It's disappointing. And I can't imagine, it's got to be even disappointing to the people who still love the guy, the 37% out there that actually still think he's doing a good job. Even they have to be disappointed by this, right? Who's giving the PR pointers of these White Houses, with these Democrat politicians? Anyway, that aside, guys, all that, I'll stop venting, but, my heart goes out to everyone in Maui. This is a truly tragic event. The main thing I hope for is that these people, I hope they're not taken advantage of when the dust does start to, settle. This is a challenging time. I'd love to hear your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you guys think about what's going on in the comments. And please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the Common Sense Garage, guys. We'll see you in the next one.